Alright, let's get cranking on this form here. So what we have is this app right here. I don't think my server's running. Oh, manage.py runs server. And this is what we're left with. All these links work. We need to fix this page. We need to add some stuff to this, our future add form. So we're going to create a form, which is going to allow us to add objects to the database. Eventually we'll expand it so it can be edited. What we need to do here is we need to create a new, in the flashcards app, we need to create a new file called forms.py. Alright, the first line in this forms file, let me close all the rest of these. First line in this forms file should just be from Django import forms. Okay? Now we have to say from .models, so from our models.py, I want to import this card. From .models import card. And just like we did over here where we had a class in our models, we're going to make another class called we'll call it our card form. And it's going to be a forms.model form. So this forms right here go into this which we imported, and then we're saying model form. And it's, you can have different types of forms. The first one we're going to work with is a model form, mainly because it's going to be of a model type. There's a lot of stuff that comes just default behavior that we don't have to manually do. So for example, this class card form, we have to tell it, we're going to give it class meta, and in here we're going to define what model it belongs to, and it belongs to this card model. And then we also need to tell it which fields it's going to use. And the fields are going to be front and back. So front, back, and that should be it. That's literally all you need to do here. Alright, so how do we use this in a view? How do we get what we just did here, this form, into over here on our add form page? The way we're going to do that is we need to go into our views.py for the flashcards, and we're going to say from .forms import card form. Now that we've imported that into our view, we can work with it. So here's our view for the add card, and I'm going to create a new variable called form, and it's going to be equal to, right here, this card form. So form is equal to card form. And because of this context right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this context empty dictionary, and I'm going to put the empty dictionary down there. Same exact thing, except this to me is a little bit easier to work with. So I have a keyword, form, which is going to be mapped to this form variable, which is of the type, card form. Alright, so now that we have that, we need to use it in our template. So let's pull up our template for the addCard.html. And let's go ahead and correct this H1, because now it's going to be the add card form. So we're going to build a form just like you would in standard HTML right now. So form method, you can use post or get. We're going to use post. The difference is if you use a get method, the data is available via the URL. So if you're trying to use a get method and like passwords or something, that password, everyone's going to be able to see it in the URL. Post, nothing's going to be sent in the URL. Class is going to equal, we're not doing a class. That's really it. Action, we're going to leave it blank. Action would be in like a redirect page, but we can do that strictly through the Django view, so we're not even going to worry about it. I'm going to close this form. And I'm going to say, let's see, we're going to say form dot as p. Actually, I'll just do form right now, just form. So remember these double curly braces, are the template variables. So I have this form variable I'm passing into the template via the context, the dictionary here, and I'm giving it the keyword form, and it's going to equal this card form that we built. So I can access it just by that card, and we need a submit, so it's going to be button type is going to be equal to submit, and we're just going to say add card and close this button. Now let's actually see this error happen. So if I go to my add card form here now, list all add card, you'll see that form pop up. Notice I didn't have to do these input fields, right? I just said, hey, give me the form. You do have to do the submit button yourself, and you do have to do the form declaration yourself as well. But all your fields will get automatically populated, automatically built by Django. So let's see if I just throw some stuff in here. You'll see this, a CRSF verification failed request aborted. You can read this if you want. The basic premise around this is it's a security feature, and what we need to do is we need to add a CSRF token. Alright, so this Django's going to pretty much create its own little private key secret token for this form. When we submit it, it's going to check that private token to make sure that it actually came from our website and not some type of malicious hacker. So let's do this again. Alright, cool. But nothing's happening, right? None of these cards are getting added to the database. And why is that? Well, check this out. That data is being sent somewhere, but we just can't see it, and we're not handling it. It's being sent to this view, right? Because the action that we have is, where is it? The action's right here. It's not giving it to a different page, so it's essentially reloading the same page, which is re-hitting the same view here. So what I can do is I can do this, print request.post. And let's bring up our, let me make this small over here. So let's watch this, front card from form, and let's just put a bunch of asterisks in there. So here's our request.post. So there's that CSRF token that I was talking about. Django made this long token, okay? So here's our back, all those asterisks, and there's our front with the front card from form. And that's all in. Remember, we had that request up there, so now you're starting to see why we need that, because now I can access different things from it. So if we just want to see the whole request, if you want to see what that is, let's just submit this again. Something's not working. Here, let me kill the server. Sometimes this thing likes to hang on Windows. I don't know what it is. It's kind of annoying. Flashcards add. So here's my request. That was a GET request. This is going to be a POST request. And it's not giving us any of the variables or anything. It's just saying it's of the type request. So I was hoping it'd come up and list everything that it had, but alright. So now how do we actually use that request.post to create a new card object? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to make a conditional here, and we're going to say if request.method is equal to post, all capital letters. We're going to do something with the data. Else, our card right here, let's just copy this down here. Form is equal to card form. Alright. So now that we have that, we can access the individual elements of the post. And we can do that by saying, print request.post, and then it should be a dictionary, so I should be able to access key value pairs from it. So I want to print out the front. Alright. Of course, this thing's kind of hanging again. let's try that again. Now that I reset the server. Alright, so there, that printed out the dictionary. That was from, bring this over here. So this print request.post is right here, the dictionary. And then the actual print, the front, is right there. So what you could do is just like we did in the shell, you could say, you know, some variable, some card variable is equal to of type card, front is equal to request.post front. You could do, you know, back is equal to request.post back. And then you could, let me make this big. And then you could do card.save. And it would work just like it did with the shell, but we don't need to do that because we're using the form. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to do another conditional. I'm going to say if form.isValid, and this is valid comes from is if form.isValid. It comes built into the form class, and it basically checks if we could put some type of validators on here. We could say, hey, front can't be blank, back can't be blank, so on and so forth. And when the form's submitted, Django is going to scrub it, make sure all the validation is done, and if it passes all the validation, it's then going to, hey, it is valid, and it'll go run this code right here. And all you have to do is, if form.isValid, we're going to say card is equal to form.save. And let's just try this right here. Let's see if this works. There's a way that I can do this. Commit equals a false. What this form.save should do is it should save the new object that we just created. If we didn't have this commit, it should just save it automatically to the database. If we have this commit is equal to false, it kind of fakes it. It creates a new card object, and then we can alter the fields for it. So for example, if I were to want to add an author to the form, or excuse me, an author to the model, I could go ahead and add a new, you know, like the poster is equal to, you know, some foreign key, you know, to a user. And then I can go and I can manually put that into the card right here that's outside of the form fields. All right, I feel like I'm going a little bit off on a tangent here, so I'm not even going to worry about that. We'll tackle those when we get to those situations. So card is equal to form.save. And what that should do is automatically save it and push it to the database. Let's see what happens. Alright, let me refresh this page. Well, I'll just go to add card. Of course it's going to hang again. Man, I'm telling you, Windows is not getting along with me at all today. Alright, so there we go. So let's see. This is the front. It was submitted via a form. Let's add it. We don't get any errors, so that's good. We don't any errors, so that's good. So let's go ahead and check to see if it's on the list all. And doesn't look like it was, huh? All right. I think I know what we did wrong here. Alright, so back into our view, I'm going to get rid of this print. We don't need it. I'm going to take this form right here, and I'm going to pop that into here. So if request.method is equal to post, what I need to do is I need to pass that post data into the card form model. So form is equal to card form, and we pass in the request.post. Otherwise, it has no clue, it has no way to access the data. So let's see if this works. So let's add card. This is the front from our new form. Let's see, I think it's submitted. Yep, so this is the front from our new form. So there we go. And that's how you add cards via the form. So sorry this is a long video here. I went off on a bit of a tangent, got a little excited. But if you want to look up more the Django form fields and the documentation on it, definitely have a crack at it. You can do all sorts of cool things with forms. So I'm going to go ahead and push this up to Git. So git status, git add dot, status again, git commit -m, and I'm going to commit, so we completed our add card form. Git push origin being the remote, master being the branch, username, password. There we go, and now it's all pushed up to GitHub, which you'll be able to see right here. See, there's that 17 seconds ago I just pushed it, and you can see all that information that we just did in our view right there. Alright, once again, sorry for the length of the video. We'll try to make the future one shorter.